Yo, what's up, diggity dogs? Give me a high five! In the last episode, we did a ranking yes. Last episode, we did a ranking of Avatar, The Last Airbender characters. And in this episode, we're going to be doing a ranking of another classic 2000s Nicktoon, Danny Phantom. Gonna catch 'em all 'cause he's 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 Danny Phantom. Yep, this is personally a slightly more nostalgic cartoon for me. I think this is one of the classic Nicktoons, from that era, right up there with Danny Phantom. I mean, Butch Hartman, he's a questionable figure nowadays, but this show, with varying amounts of influence from him, it really manages to combine the zaniness of Fairly Odd Parents with with being a legitimate superhero cartoon, with a wake up, go to school, save the world aspect of many 2000s cartoons like Kim Possible. But what I really love about these shows is the crazy ass rogues gallery they had to fight every other episode. So there we go, ranking every Danny Phantom character from either the whole landfill to the rank of ahoy. First off, we're gonna go with the main protagonist himself, Danny Phantom, or Danny Fenton, as it's pronounced. He's a very good protagonist. I really like how his superhero alter ego functions, how he has a decently well-established array of powers, I guess. A good contrast with his other mode. Really manages to serve as a pastiche of heroes like Peter Parker and Superman, with the alter ego that no one recognizes. And David Kaufman gives a decently awkward yet performance as him, yet still manages to get those serious moments in. Good character. Tucker Foley, one of the great African American great piece of African American representation. Great subversion of the nerd character. Compelling character arc. I mean, he knew when he had to be funny and knew when he had to be a loyal friend. So great character, and he was a very useful ally over the course of the series. I didn't finish talking about Danny. What I really like about him is they really like how he, as the series went on, he does evolve, does have a continuing relationship with another character, does learn his lesson, and really questions how is he more ghost or is he more human? Something he does delve in, something he does wrestle with. Tucker, he's an equally great character. I really a show has to have a good... I think, having a good power trio is always important for a show. One of these kids shows, they always have, the smart one, the love interest, and the main character. And, really, had a lot of good moments showing he was more than just the bumbling nerd stereotype. And now we get to my favorite character in the show, for obvious reasons, Sam. The INFP goth girl was my favorite character. Who knew? I mean, she was she's one of the great quintessential cartoon goth characters. I mean, I'd already talked about her about a year and a half ago in my ranking, sacrificing my dignity and ranking every cartoon goth character. That was that not a lot of people watched. But Sam, as a character, she has a sulky demeanor most of the time, but the other time she does have a decently well written romance with Danny over the course of the series. I know it's he was involved in a shipping war with Valerie, but come on, what main character wasn't involved in the shipping war? But otherwise, Sam was a good character. She balanced mopiness with genuine moments of and she's also an activist, without being too preachy, really subverting the emo goth stereotype that doesn't care about anyone. And she had a decently cute appearance, Yeah, like, I mean, come on, it's the INFP cartoon goth character. What did you expect? The Wolfman, good. Like, I really like how, he's a decently tragic character. Kind of reminds me of Warwick from League of Legends, being the monstrous wolf who was, scorned by society, but is actually a, sweetheart, and, at the end of the day, really like that archetype of, like, the gentle giant archetype, even if, like, he wasn't, even if he was non-verbal, that just made him, more touching, in a more touching story. And easily showed how like this series did go beyond like the stereotypical monsters, and actually like the stereotypical ghost stories. So that was good. Cyclone, I'm gonna just put this in him in the okay territory. I mean, he did weather manipulation. It's kind of like a generic superpower, not like, I mean, I'm not saying every character in this series was the benchmark of originality, but like, just felt like a too simple an idea. But he was decently executed, like, showing how much of like a like with the later seasons, showing how the threat was continually escalating. That was a good arc. So yeah, I'm just gonna put him in okay. And now we get to our, another one of the great classics of the Rogues Gallery, Nocturne. No, not that Nocturne, this Nocturne. First off, he has, like, that, cosmic aesthetic, kind of like Eternity from Marvel, or that shitty Thor movie. But, like, and he also, like, is, like, a dream manipulator, which is always a cool aesthetic. But what I really liked about this character is that he was voiced by by James Garrett, otherwise known as Avatar Roku, the narrator of Avatar: The Last Airbender. I think this really just shows how, like, a lot of people forget that Danny Phantom and Avatar aired at the same time, and just having having the narrator of the show just show up to voice a one-off villain in this random show really shows like how interconnected these shows were. But yeah, really great idea for a one-off villain, and was a great tool for character development as well. The Ghost Rider guy, the Hellbiker guy.
Suck on some fumes! You have fine excuse for a demon?
The Fiend bosses in Nocturne were pretty good, to be honest. Oh yeah, this guy. Oh yeah, I really liked how he sold roguish, like the roguish, dashing rogue stereotype with the leather jacket and all. And really did show that these villains were like they weren't just like straight up villains in the show, but they did have their own motivations and backstories. And showed like this is like, yeah, I'm sorry if I stutter a lot, I'm just like lost my train of thought. But yeah, he was a decently cool anti-villain that was introduced in the series and was a good recurring villain. Vladimasters, great, one of the great classic, yes, this is just by all accounts a great main ringleader of the Rogues Gallery, constantly joining forces with other antagonists, has a history with the main protagonist, like rivalry, serves as an evil counterpart / shadow archetype to the main character, constantly coming up with new plans, like just like a great example of like showing just how like who Danny could have become if he misused his powers. So yeah, this is one of the classic villain, main villains of a cartoon. Not just not the only villain, but the big, like a big bad of a show. Great example of that. Cujo, good. He's a good boy. Cujo's a good boy. The Dark Knight. And no, we're not talking about the Bat. We're talking about the Dark Knight. I think it was just like a decent homage to like the classic Black Knight of classic literature. with like it's a fairly generic design, but he really does like serve as like a good ambassador slash like a right-hand man to the main villain. And another thing I liked is that during the Dark Danny 2-part special, he ends up getting, he basically just does the change team meme and becomes his herald or something, which was pretty good. The ringleader, the Orlok guy, he was a great villain, and I like how in the 2-part special he basically does Infinity War before Infinity War. Dun 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 da 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 da. Another great villain, I guess. The lunch lady, great. She was voiced by Fran from The Middle. That show was awesome, and just really showed like the wacky ideas that a lot of these villains would have, like just. So a good character, I guess. Though she is far from the greatest mess hall chef to be featured in media.
Hi. What can I get you?
Do you have the lasagna?
Yeah, I reckon. Hold your hand out then.
Okay.
Ugh. Actually, that's too much. Put some back.
As shown here. Next we got the guys in white, who are very much, I mean, these guys are the whole landfill, not because of their characters themselves, but as we all know, the CIA is actually a terrorist organization. Second Thought did a video on it, and they're very clearly based off of government agents. And the government sucks. And worst of all, they took the Men in Black and turned them into the Men in White. That just sucks most of all. The plant monster guy, good. He was voiced by Mark Hamill, and possesses Sam apparently, or no. But yeah, I mean the plant monster stereotype. It can I mean like kind of like Mark Watney from The Martian. Mars will come to fear my botany skills. Or they could be taken to further extremes. Poindexter. Nerd! But, really, this episode, I think I remember I had, like, it on DVD or something. It was, like, my first episode I watched. I remember it from, like, a long time ago. Another hit of nostalgia. Valerie, great, like, she was a great character, being a independent ghost hunter. Great shipping war for Danny. Really like how she had a badass future self in the 2-part special, and I really like how it's sort of like a much better executed thing of Miraculous Ladybug, where they show the two love interests who have two secret identities that have no idea who they are. I mean, anything could do that. Anyone could do it better than Miraculous does. But this was just a slightly better example of it. And also, like, seeing as she's like a ghost hunter, I just want to make an offhand comment about how this is a much better ghost hunting show than Ghostbusters, because it does not advocate for Reaganomics and deregulation and banning safety regulations, because that is no good. As shown here.
In reality, a lack of safety regulations would not result in rescuing the city from the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. It would probably result in a nuclear explosion from a proton pack.
Frostbite, good character, really shows how a lot of these characters were I really like his, giving them, like, the magic map that lets them go anywhere. Really shows how, like, the Ghost Zone, it's not just, like, some, Limbo or, the Fade from Dragon Age, but it does have a lot of, other sub-dimensions that the writers did get genuinely creative with. Really, thought that would, and, the ice-like zone, really like, going through, like, the, Winter Wasteland. That's always a good trope. Now we get to one of the great classic characters, the Bex Ghost! Great, I mean, he is one of the great examples of, like, the loser member of the Rogues Gallery that's constantly played for laughs. But I'm just saying, if this guy existed in the age of Jeff Bezos and Amazon, he would kick the main character's ass! And also, we all love boxing is always awesome. Jazz. She was a great example of the, like, the cool older sister trope. And, she, like, really, like, serves as, like, a reasonable authority figure. And, like, really like her character arc of, like, finding out who Danny was and, becoming, like, a genuinely supportive, like, older sister and part of their, trade, I guess. And I also like how she's voiced by Colleen O'Shaughnessy, aka Miles Tails Prower. My roommate from the gaming club is obsessed with Tails, I guess. Sort of like my mascot. It's basically his mascot, the same way my Catchy 77 is my mascot. But yeah, Jazz Fenton, like, really like just a genuinely good example of an emotionally empathetic, emotionally supportive sister. Older sister who's very smart. And they do have, like, the thing in Ben 10 where, like, they weren't siblings, but, like, they're, like, I mean, like, the, relatives of the same age group who are, like, who had, like, a tooth-clenched teamwork with each other over the course of the series. I mean, all siblings hate each other most of the time. So, that's how that goes. Quan, he was an okay character. Didn't really, just served as, like, a guy, added muscle for Dash. Youngblood, he's voiced by Taylor Lautner, but he is also a pirate. Yarr! Piracy is, if you already bought it, piracy. Also, piracy isn't a crime. It's a multimedia company is committing price gouging their products and then rendering them completely inaccessible by legal means. Fuck you, David Zaslav. Fuck you. But yeah, and I like how he also switched up themes. That was a pretty interesting dynamic. Really showed like how juvenile he was. Pariah Dark. What I love about this series is how this guy absolutely looks like he would be the main big bad of the series with his crazy over-the-top warlord design. But he was just like another one-off villain of the series, which I think kind of works. How how he wasn't defeated, he was usurped by another villain, and how he was just another one of Vladimir's plans. Great, and like he does have the crazy army. He does show up with like the ghost thing from like different time periods, kind of like in Death Stranding. That was a good example. But yeah, he's a great example of like an arc villain or like a midway boss to show up. Lydia, don't really remember her character. I don't remember that. She was an okay character. Really liked how she ended up portraying the ringleader guy. That was a nice arc. Skulker, this guy is a great antagonist. Kind of like basically the amoral bounty hunter trope, kind of mixed in with the Predator. Great performance from Kevin Michael Richardson, and really like one of the more iconic villains of the series. And there's the funny trope that he's like the small guy piloting the huge mech. Still a classic villain, I guess. Principal, Mr. Lancer, I made like a viral, like a We Are Number One me remix with this guy. Really like how he sells the like angry teacher trope, but he's actually has like a heart of gold, genuinely looking out for his students, wants their best. But yes, like, and of course I'm gonna bring up his voice acting again. He is voiced by the legendary Ron Perlman, which is always a plus. Spectra, good. I just relate to this. I just like relate to having this as an antagonist. My like I was during my high school, middle school years, I had a narcissist sociopath as a guidance counselor. He cared more about keeping me quiet than keeping mentally healthy. And I hope my guidance counselor, guidance counselor from guidance counselor from middle school and high school, I hope both of you know I don't regret 1 second of how much I made other students uncomfortable, nor how much I disrupted your stupid classes teaching us useless information. Huh? I hope you know that I don't regret a second of that, and I do it again. Dan E. Phantom, good, served as a good junior counterpart to Danny Phantom, and showed had a decently tragic arc, showing how dangerous this half ghost power stuff was, and it was also had an air of mystery to her. So she's just a good character. Bertram, he was a good butler character. He was a little more than the dragon to Spectra, but I did have some crazy power sets, so yeah, he was just okay as an antagonist. But I really like how he's this spooky monster, but he has that he's masquerading as this classic butler, decently creative idea. Oh yeah, Dan E. I. Phantom. Really showed how deep this show could be at times, not just some wacky adventure villain of the week adventure cartoon, or but did have some of the feels moments. Pandora. I mean, it was a great excuse for the box goes to do something actually serious. But yeah, Pandora. A great homage to a Greek myth, or something. I mean, sometimes you get video games like Hades, sometimes you get Kratos. But yeah, good one-off character. Jack Fenton. He was I think he feels like a great example of a good cartoon dad. He's good at his job. And once again, he doesn't have and he's also a good ghost hunter because he isn't deregulated by the government, and subsequently won't get the entirety of Amity Park blown up in a nuclear explosion from a proton pack, which is nice. And I really like the rivalry he has with Vlad, how he's an actually good person, despite his bumblingness. And there was that fishing trip, which really did flesh out his character. Amorpho, okay, this was a good antagonist. He had a tragic back. I mean, of course he was a prankster, but he did have some element of humanity to him, and he does play the shapeshifter trope, plus in a genuinely decent way. So good. I mean, and I really like how he has that mystery man aesthetic, or Soviet hitman, I guess. So that's a interesting idea for one-off antagonists. Star. She was just Dash's loving. She was just the popular girl stereotype. Okay, not really, doesn't do anything wrong, but doesn't really have enough of an impact. Desile, that was she was a decent homage to the like the Arabian Nights, and she did have a decently tragic backstory, and like shows like the wish granting. I think wish granting is up there with bringing back the dead and teleportation as one of the great story breaking powers that I really think you shouldn't introduce. But like because this is a kids cartoon, and I wouldn't complain about it too much. But yeah, like, Desiree, she was a great example, like, one of the recurring villains of the show, who did have an element of tragedy, but, like, was a clever enough antagonist. King Aragon, Monarchy is bad, but he was a good antagonist. Decent performance from D. Bradley Baker. And loved how they used it as a throwback to, like, classic medieval stories. The Rider guys at GF, that was, glad I don't remember as much, like, she was stuck in, like, limbo during that one episode, which is sad, but glad they met back up again, and she did, like, have, like, some, other episode that she was good, I guess, don't remember. The, Watcher guys, or as I like to call them, the, Peeping Toms. I feel like these were good, but not great. I feel like they were kind of underutilized. Like, I mean, I like the idea, just not how much they weren't as utilized as much. I mean, so I'm just gonna keep them there. Like, after the Cyclone guy escapes, I don't remember them doing that much. But, like, as a sort of, like, time variance authority guys, they were pretty good, I guess. Dash, like, well, I mean, on the one hand, I think he was just good. Starts out as a typical school bully, but does have, like, and sometimes antagonist, but does show some character development, and, like, it's a cliche, jock wearing that kind of, like, jacket, or whatever you call it. Every jock bully wears that jacket. It's way too cliche at this point. Pauline, she was, like, the, dumb popular girl stereotype, just sort of okay. Okay, to be honest, didn't really get that much development, I guess. Yeah, I mean, like, of course she had no chance with Danny, I suppose. The mummy guy, I hope he knows his mummy dresses him funny. I mean, like, if you want a good example of, I mean, Mark Spector would kick his ass, Bayek of Siwata could kick his ass, but Tut from Tuttenstein could kick his ass. So I'm just gonna put him in good, but I like the homage to, like, going back, like, walk like an Egyptian. Princess, don't really remember her, just gonna put her in okay. Actually, good. I like how she did, like, start out as the Meeks, but then, like, she got her power and, like, showed that she would, like, was more than they thought she was. Like, really adds, like, some depth to her character. Technus, I mean, this guy was created before the age of social media, when tech companies, like, started taking over everything. I really think he aged well as a character. I feel like there's some cutaway gag I could use. He has a decently hilariously hammy performance from Rob Paulson. Like, I mean, like, not just, like, typical Rob Paulson annoying, but, like, extreme Rob Paulson, like, one of the crazier voices he did. And he also tries to create a crazy takeover in MMO. That was funny. So Technus, a good one of the great classic members of the Rogues Gallery. Ghost Rider, I mean, he, okay, I love, like, the crazy author stereotype. But yeah, like, I also like how he was voiced by BoJack Horseman himself, before he was BoJack, 10 years before he was BoJack Horseman. And, like, I really like how he's the crazy author stereotype. I mean, like, come on, writers love seeing other writers. And he does create one of the more memorable cartoon Christmas specials. I mean, you're not going to beat the Star Wars Holiday Special, or the Invader Zim Holiday Special, or one of the greatest YouTube poops of all time, How the Grinch Was Dragged Onto the Street and Stoned for His Infidelity. But this guy was a pretty good antagonist, I guess. And really like, the author type villain is pretty good. The Time Child.
Drink this space alcohol and come with me to the 6th dimension.
They're not here.
Oh, what?
Yeah, this was a great example of a one-off antagonist. On the one hand, first off, he's voiced by Bill from Kill Bill. Second, he's a decently philosophical antagonist, like not good, not evil. And like how he has a semi-recurring role through the story, and like does have like a rivalry with the Watcher guys. Really hope they enjoyed watching the show. And but yeah, if you do see a grandfather, no, not wrong joke. But yeah, great way to segue into one of the better highlights of the series, the Dark Danny arc. Wait, Dark Danny isn't on this list. You know, just imagine I put Dark Danny on the great tier. He was by far the best villain of the show. Really showed like how the ghost thing, power thing could go completely overboard. Can you guys wait? Oh yeah, Walker, I mean, he is I feel like Walker, okay, this was another good villain. He's like really showing, he has a great performance from James Arnold Taylor, otherwise known as Obi-Wan Kenobi and Johnny Test. But yeah, I really like how he like serves as like a villain to the villains, like, was like the hanging judge archetype. And my favorite part about him as an antagonist, he showcases the true evils of the prison industrial complex.
Yes?
Oh, you know about that? Tell me what you know about that. Tell me what you think about that.
The prison industrial complex is a system situated at the intersection of government and private interests. It uses prisons as a solution to social, political, and economic problems. It includes human rights violations, the death penalty, slave labor, policing, courts, the media, political prisoners, and the elimination of dissent.
Did you just say what I was trying to say, but smarter?
And because that sucks, the prison industrial complex. And now we get to let's just say, a memorable antagonist of the show, Ember McLean. Yep. I mean, a great musical number, one of the most memorable episodes of the show. Should swapped up her tactics every episode, and that was one of the more three-dimensional villains of the show, but memorable archetypes. And I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that for obvious reasons. Well, we all know the story surrounding this character. You don't want to, if you don't know it, good. You don't want to hear it. Trust me. Maddie Fenton, one of a good example of a cartoon mother figure in the show. She was good with her great parents to both their kids. Did a good job at running their ghost hunting service. Great arc on trying to try and stop Vlad. And really like their backstory together. How the villainous former friend thing. And she was easily like the more competent member of their ghost hunting service, but mostly because of the fact that their ghost hunting service still wasn't deregulated under Reaganomics. which is always good. But yeah, like great example of a genuinely cartoon parents that aren't complete idiots. And best of all, another example of a parents in animation that do not try to maul their own children after they run off to a concert. No, I am not letting that go. Like, it'll end up... I'm work project thing. And finally, we come to the last, but let's face it, most likely the least, Klemper. He was a funny enough character. I really liked how he just wanted a friend the whole time. And like how he ruled over his own frozen dimension or something. Really showed how like there were even more pathetic characters in Box Ghost. So there we have it. My ranking of all of the characters from Danny Phantom. Thank you and goodbye.